is Justin Morris, and today I'll be interviewing Stephen Sloan for my Psychology 101 class. I've known Stephen for the past 8 years. He was in my scout troop, he was in my youth group at church, and he is now 18 years old. He's working, and he's really made something of himself. In fact, of all the 18 to 29 year olds that we had a choice to interview, he was one of them that came up, because usually at 18 years old, we don't have a clue what we're going to do. We don't have an idea what 5 years looks like down the road. Most of the time, most 18-year-olds are looking just to graduate from high school, and then they figure it out after that. So with Stephen, he has been a very focused young man. He has always had a really good head on his shoulders, and I thought he'd be a great subject to interview for this class. And so without further ado, we're going to get right into it.
Hello, my name is Stephen Sloan. I'm 18 years old. I graduated college summer of 2025, and I'm currently working full-time to go back to college.
So with being 18 years old and going to college, are you experiencing like some instability, like, job, place where you're living, maybe dating, but you're not actually going to college right now, right? You're saving up to go to college. Is that correct?
So right now I'm trying to move out of my parents' house. My job is fairly stable. I work 50 hours a week. And the relationship with my girlfriend, I'm trying to at some point marry her. And I'm just, working through whether I should wait until I'm out of college or starting a business or something like that, or waiting until after that.
To get married?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Being 18, it really sounds like you're really self-focused. Do you see that you are a lot more self-focused now that you're out of high school and you have a job than before?
Yes, I do feel like I'm more self-focused. I'm more working on myself and what I want to do in the future, and I have a plan, and I'm planning on going through with it. And I see how I want my future to play out. And when I was younger, 16 or 17, I was like, I don't know what I want to do, kind of screwing off a little bit. And so now I got a job, I'm trying to do something and go back to college and make something of myself.
At this point, being 18 years old, you're going from adolescence to adulthood. In that transition, are you feeling any confusion or pressure, or are you putting pressure on yourself, or do you think there's more pressure coming from outside because this world, they want to tell you need to hurry up and figure things out and get on the way? Are you feeling in that right now?
So there definitely is a big difference between being 17 and 18. I remember when I was 17, no pressure. I was just kind of roaming through and doing high school and like, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I definitely feel the pressure now that, I actually have to figure something out, and I got to have an idea of what I want to do with my life. Do I want to start a family? Like I got to provide for that family and what I'm just going to do. So yes, there is a lot of pressure, and I feel like that age when you're 18 through 21 is that big area where you find out like, okay, this is what I got to do. I got to focus, and I really need to work on myself and just work through this and make something of myself.
With all that being said, do you feel safe about the era and the time that we're in with everything that's happening, the chaos and the financial situation and the way the stock market's looking?
So I feel like my generation is a lot harder to just move forward and kind of make something of ourselves. Inflation has gone up from since my parents were kids, and their generation. Houses are more expensive. We have AI we have to deal with now that we have to learn about, and kind of seek like, how am I gonna work with this? Is this gonna take over my job at some point? And just coming to that realization that someday that might take over my job, and I gotta learn how to deal with that. And so I feel like is definitely a thing. Yeah.
What are your current goals? And I'm talking about the 1 to 3 year mark right now.
That's a great question. My current goals within the 3 to 4 year mark, I plan to go back to college and then at some point get married to my girlfriend and try to support her. She's starting as a nurse, so I'm gonna try to support her through that. And I'm really trying to start my own business and make something of myself. So at some point, probably by the 4 year mark, I do want to have a contractor's license and have people start working under me and just get more knowledgeable on that.
Those are really good goals to have. And do you see any obstacles that might get in that way?
So yes, I do see a lot of obstacles that can get in the way, like not having enough money to go back to college. How am I going to pay for my contractor's license? There's licensing that goes with that. That costs a lot of money. How am I going to support my girlfriend while she's also going to college at the time? And so yes, these are all obstacles that I have to overcome and think about, like, oh, how am I going to pay for if I'm trying to move out of my parents' house, how am I going to pay for that? Am I going to sign up for FAFSA so I can hopefully get financial aid when I move out? And so just, trying to work through that.
So one last question, Stephen. I know, you're 18, and when I was your age, I didn't think about retirement really so much. I had it in the back of my mind because my dad was on disabled Social Security at 50 years old. He had hurt himself pretty bad. So I knew that's not what I wanted, but I didn't have an idea. In fact, I didn't even go in the military until I was 19. And even at that point, I didn't think I was going to stay in long enough to get a retirement. But from what you are so far more ahead than I ever was at your age. So at this point, at what age, if everything lined out the way you wanted it, at what age would you like to retire?
So my goal is to retire when I'm 45 to 50. I know that seems like, oh, it's a lot younger. A lot of people in the United States are like, if I retire by 70, that'd be great. Starting a business, I feel like you can really get that opportunity. I see a lot of people around me like have businesses, they're retiring early. And so just being able to put my business up and say, hey, I'm done here. Like, I'm going to spend time with my family. If I'm planning on having kids at 20, probably 25 to 27. And so just, spending time with my kids when they're older. And so that's the goal.
Stephen had just gotten off of work when I had called him and asked him to come do this interview. And, like I said, he's one of the most focused 18-year-old young men I've ever met. And he sees things in this society that pose obstacles, but he also sees opportunity. See, people in his age group don't want to work. They want to sit there and play video games. They want to, travel and do all these things. And he's thinking, this is the way things need to go. And his grandfather went back to college at the age of 50 to become a doctor. And he became a doctor, age 45. He finished 8 years plus 4 years residency, well into his late 50s, and doctored up until he was 75. And so he sees the value of education. He sees his dad is a general contractor, makes a ton of money, and he's seen the way he has lived, and his dad has put into his mind that in order to have and see what we live in, you're gonna have to have a good job and not something like a labor job. You don't want to be the laborer of a contract. You want to be the general labor. You want to be the general manager. And he sees that, and that's his focus. And so I just figured he would probably be one of the best people I knew to do an interview like this. Does Stephen have a plan? Yes, he does. Is the future unforeseeable? Yes, it is. But there's a verse in the Bible that says if people don't have a vision, they perish.